Trump peace plan for Ukraine is leaked. Talks with Putin ceasefire by Easter and end to Zelensky's NATO dream among details in the report. That out of the Daily Mail today. That's a hell of a bomb. The U.S. president will try to force Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to agree to a ceasefire with Russia by Easter under a peace plan, according to the report. That's a hell of a report. Be sure to like and subscribe. We're going to get into this. Because as you know, Zelensky has said he's not negotiating, that every inch of Ukrainian land has got to be back with Ukraine. And you know that the 4 oblasts have voted to join Russia, so Russia views them as Russian territory currently occupied by Ukraine. So something's got to give. The president has a plan. Trump, who long claimed to be able to negotiate an end to the war and brutal invasion in a single day, is said to be working to end the war within 100 days. Here's the outline of the planned ceasefire. The unconfirmed plans, reported by Ukrainian outlet Strana, have been doing the rounds in political and diplomatic circles in Ukraine, and will include a ceasefire by April 20th that would freeze Russia's steady advance, a ban on Ukraine from joining NATO, and a demand for Kiev to accept Russian sovereignty on annexed land. As you know, that's a point that Zelensky has always said no to. That appears to be softening. On top of this, Ukrainian troops will be made to leave Russia's cursed region, where it launched a counter-offensive in August and has been constantly losing ground in that Kursk offensive steadily. It's only 1/3 as large as it was. The EU will reportedly be asked to assist Ukraine in reconstruction efforts, which may cost as much as $468 billion over the next decade, according to the German Marshall Fund think tank. The ceasefire plans will reportedly begin with a cell phone call between Zelensky and Russian autocrat elected president. All right, I'm going to actually reread this paragraph so it actually represents the truth. The ceasefire plans will reportedly begin with a call between president who has banned elections and is now ruling basically by dictate with no elections allowed, Zelensky, and Russian elected by the people, Putin. Whether you find them to be valid elections or not, they are what they are. In February, a meeting between the two warring leaders in late February to early March, an official ceasefire declaration by April 20th. Neither one of these two recognize each other as the official leaders of their country. Zelensky was elected years ago, and as of this moment, he has canceled any and all presidential elections in Ukraine. He has also banned the Ukrainian Russian Orthodox Church and banned the Russian language. You should look at some of the things he's banned and some of the things that he has enacted. Some of them would be very, very close to USAID stuff. Reading books to small children kind of thing. A declaration on the agreed parameters for ending the war would then be released by May 9th, after which Kiev would be asked not to extend martial law or mobilize troops. Trump also wants to set up an international peace conference mediated by other prominent nations that would gather to help forge an agreement to end the brutal war that has thus far claimed over 45,000 Ukrainian soldiers, according to Zelensky, and an estimated 840,000 Russian troops, according to Ukrainian intelligence agencies, which are lying through their freaking teeth because that's such a bullshit number that you can't possibly take it real. 45,000 Ukrainians and 840,000 Russians. Seriously. with a 10-to-1 advantage in artillery, bombarding the living hell out of everything. No, I don't think so. I don't frickin' think so. That is such a bullshit line, and that will not fly on this channel. That will not fly. This is from the U.S. Congress. Congress.gov. Right there. Congress.gov. House documents. Ukraine war casualties nearly 500,000, U.S. officials say. Let's just get right to the nut of it right here, okay? Russia's military casualties as of 8/18/2023, the officials said are approaching 300,000. The number includes as many as 120,000 deaths and 170 to 180,000 injured troops. The Russian numbers dwarf the Ukrainian figures, which officials put at close to 70,000 killed and 100 to 120,000 wounded. And that was in 2023. This is from the U.S. Congress. From their briefings with intelligence officials. Of course, this will be pinned into the comments, or into the description, so everyone can see it. God, that just pisses me off. You guys have sacrificed an entire generation over there, and you won't even admit it. This is a picture of the map as would be proposed. Ukraine banned from joining NATO and must declare neutrality. Ukraine withdraws from Kursk. European and UK soldiers police demilitarized buffer zone. Frontline frozen in Easter ceasefire April 20th. Kyiv accepts Russian sovereignty of annexed land. This is just a couple of examples as we go by of the fun part of war. That's sarcasm, of course. With many of the terms of the reported plans include concessions for Ukraine, Trump is also reportedly planning on continuing American support for Ukraine's military, as well as a pathway for it to join the EU by 2030. But Russia also has significant gains, as well as plans to include lifting sanctions on Russian energy over several years, though money from special duties on energy will be used to help Ukraine rebuilding efforts. Now, part of this, and I'm going to go right here. Trump also wants to set up an international peacekeeping force, peace conference. There's a peacekeeping force part in here. I got to find that. I've got to find that. Here it is. On top of this, Ukrainian troops will be made to leave Russia's Kursk region while launch its counteroffensive in June, while contingent of European soldiers, which could include British troops, would be asked to police a demilitarized zone. American troops will not be involved in this contingent. Now, to be honest with you, if I'm Putin, I don't accept that. That is actually a make or break part of this deal for me. I'm completely serious. This part right here. They don't go anywhere near Ukraine. They don't go anywhere near it. As well as American troops. But no way am I, if I'm Russia, is this acceptable? No chance. Almost everything else is, if I'm them. If I'm the Ukrainians, I have a lot of problems with this. But I'm not really in a position right now. But there's no way I accept this if I'm Russia. This is literally a deal breaker for me. The reason this whole damn war started in the first place is because of the United Kingdom's Boris Johnson and the ruling class of the United Kingdom demanding that Ukraine withdraw from the Istanbul Accords that it had already signed and fight. The only reason Kiev was not taken is because Russia thought they had a deal in principle. Both the Ukrainian foreign minister and Vladimir Putin, both of them, publicly and on video, say there was a deal in place and that Boris Johnson came. This isn't Russian propaganda. unless you consider the Ukrainian foreign minister to be a Russian propagandist. Idiots. But for me, that would be a make or break. That would be a make or break. I would want something more akin to possibly Indian troops than I would American or British. Specifically those two. I'm not cool with European troops, NATO troops on my border. I'm not cool with that at all. I would rather have Indian troops, maybe Japanese, somebody a little more out of the area with less skin in the game. But that is basically the breakdown of the president's leaked peace plan. And this is what we would call a trial balloon to see how this goes. I think if you're the Ukrainians, do you want to give up this territory? No, absolutely not. But considering what I just read was a 2023 report from the U.S. Congress, we can only assume that those numbers have at least doubled. So we could be looking at literally combining both sides over 1 million casualties. Casualties being killed, wounded, and missing in action. The war has to stop. I don't think either side is going to be exactly pleased with what they get, which is part of a negotiation when it comes to something like this. Neither side is going to walk away happy, but the goal, and I think it's a good one from the president, is that they at least walk away. They shake hands, walk away, put this to bed, stop the killing. It has to stop. If you're the Ukrainians, you're fighting a righteous cause. If you're the Russians, you've killed and crushed so much on your way to where you are. When is enough enough? It's time for it to end. And I applaud the president for his leadership on the world stage. Promises made, promises kept. This one he couldn't do on day one, but clearly he's working hard to do it, and I support him in it. I hope it's successful. Peace, baby. Peace. Make love. Sorry, wrong hand. Make love, not war. I appreciate you, and I thank you.